Welcome to today's episode of the Bad Influence Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Banderas, and on today's episode, I want to talk about this new term that is becoming more mainstream every single day. I keep hearing more about it. That's why I want to talk about this, because even psychologists are actually looking into why people are doing it and its consequences. Now, this particular term I'm talking about is called sad fishing. And no, that's not when you go fishing and don't catch anything and then you get sad. Or when you go fishing because you're sad. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is attention-seeking behavior that refers more to using sadness or emotional vulnerability as a way to get people to engage with them or their content for personal gain. Probably you have seen this lately. So, pretty much all those posts we scroll by online that we all want to roll our eyes at because they want attention but they have very little content. That's pretty much what I'm talking about. You know what? You know when you scroll down on Facebook, you see this post giving you a very sad story, but sometimes you know the person putting that story and you're like, this is full of shit because I just saw you spending $350 at this store and all of a sudden you're asking for people to help you buy your Christmas gifts for your kids. I have seen that happen lately. You know, that's pretty much what I'm talking about. But when I saw this term pop up online and read more about it, I was like, do I know anybody that is doing this right now or has done that in the past? And the answer is yes. I actually know somebody. I know this person that she actually made it onto the news here in Utah because she was sad fishing. But it all came down to one of her friends exposing her lies, and this person almost went to jail. I say that she almost went to jail because she's out on bail until her trial date. So she still could go to jail because of what she did. Now, what this person did, and that's why I want to highlight this because there's a lot of people doing this and I want you to be smart and I want you to not be taken advantage of. But what this person did was literally the definition, the textbook definition of sad fishing, because she gained so much from her tragic story that she ended up doing a TED Talk at BYU. Now, for you to get chosen by TED and do a talk about whatever you're talking about on stage, it takes a lot of time. Like, you have to submit your topic and a video what you're going to talk about, and they do their research, I believe, and then you get chosen. And that's if you get chosen. So this person got chosen. She took somebody else's spot to talk about what she did. And the problem with that is that she lied. You know, she also obtained a lot of financial gain from all of this because she also started doing GoFundMes. Now, what happened in this situation was that she claimed to be a sex trafficking survivor, which can happen to anyone. We all have seen a lot of stories about that on the news. We all know that it happens. So we kind of get attached to something like that because we have seen it happen a lot on the news, you know? And probably you might even know somebody that has gone through that. And what she did as well is that she told a very compelling story that I even believe. And believe me, I have trust issues. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust stories until I know the facts. But I believe her. I follow her journey just like thousands of people on Facebook. We were all cheering for her like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. That's what this and that, you know. Because she was posting daily about her trauma, her nightmares, and all these things about her abuse that you wouldn't think she was lying. because when you read it, you're like, wow, this is so detailed. And like I said, you see it on the news and you see how things are when people get out of situations like that. And she was posting things like that. So you would have been like, oh my gosh, she went through so much. But then it got even worse, because at the end of last year, she posted on Facebook that she was diagnosed with an incurable form of cancer. And again, everyone believed her, because there was no doubt about that. Because after her fake diagnosis was all over Facebook, one of her friends set up a GoFundMe, and the goal was $100,000. And I thought about donating to her cause, because she posted pictures about herself during this whole journey, going through chemo and being even outside the Huntsman Cancer Center, which is an expensive place. They give you good care, but it's fucking expensive. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna need money, because this place is actually very expensive. But what happened in this case is that she apparently started taking money from the GoFundMe to buy things for herself and go on trips. But one of her friends saw this and reported her to the cops. So at least somebody actually decided to speak up and say something about this. But after the cops investigated the case, this is where it gets fucked up. They discovered that she was taking the money for herself, and that she was never a victim of sex trafficking, and that she was never even diagnosed with cancer. So after all of her lies came to light, she even changed her name on Facebook, because either she was scared or she was ashamed or she just didn't care, and she was like, I'm just gonna start all over, you know? But that's what makes it even more messed up, because she hasn't faced the consequences yet. And people donated to her GoFundMe. People were like, oh, we're cheering for you, you know, like giving her gifts. She actually got a free dog that had been trained to help people with PTSD, you know, like it was a whole fucked up situation. Like after all this came down, I was like, wow, I can't believe somebody actually did that. Now, while I think what she did is completely fucked up, which I do, I think this story also shows that when people around you know the truth and can see that you're lying for personal gain, they will turn you in for literally stealing from people. That's what the friend did in this situation. And if you're not getting any monetary gain from it, the people around you will probably criticize you so much that you're gonna get annoyed, or they're just gonna stop talking to you. And then people that do that, they wonder why they don't have any friends, because the reason behind that is that people are getting tired of your shit. Like, you lie about whatever just to get some kind of attention, and people see that, people know what your story is, and they're like, that person is lying, and they get tired of it. So it's better for them to walk away. And I'm sure you know someone that is doing that right now, and you want to call them out on their post, but you're just too nice. You don't want to be super rude or anything like that. So if you're in a situation like that, I will highly recommend in those instances that you walk away from their life, since you know they're full of shit. Like, there's nothing that you can do to have them stop lying or anything like that. So might as well just walk away, live your life, let them do whatever they need to do, and move on, because you don't need friends like that in your life. Now, the problem with this type of situation, and this is another thing that I want to highlight, is that the people that do this type of scam are creating a problem with the people that, or for the people that actually do need help. Because when you see stories like this, like what I was talking about earlier in regards to this girl, you believe stories like that and then they turn out to be that lie, then what happens when somebody that actually needs help is giving you a similar story, or is telling you that they need help for whatever reason? You're not going to believe it because you already been taken advantage of. Somebody took advantage of your good heart, and you help them and it turned out to be a lie. So now you see this other story and then you start questioning it, and you question yourself if you should help them or not. But the problem with that is that you come up as a cold person, cold-hearted, and even heartless, which is kind of messed up if you think about it, because you stop kind of caring about what other people are actually going through, but you don't want to be taken advantage of again. So it's not easy, because when you help others, or when you want to help others, you literally have to give them a lot of your time, a lot of energy, and you have to commit to help them. So it takes a lot of you. And during this particular season, this fucking behavior gets worse, because this is the season of giving. So a lot of people take advantage of that to give you a sad story about themselves, so they ask you to help them any way they can. And due to this being the season of giving, you don't want to look like the asshole that can't give back. So you start giving people your time, your energy, and sometimes even your own money, even though you need it to pay your bills. I actually have seen this recently. I know somebody that gave another person money because they were giving out their sad story. They were like, oh, I need help with this, whatever. So this person gave them their money that they were supposed to use for rent. And yes, it's their fault, but still it's messed up. Because when I asked this person, why did you give them the money if you actually need to pay your rent? The answer was, I just don't want to look like an asshole. And I was like, you know what? If you can help somebody, you don't have to feel bad, because you have to take care of yourself first. You don't always have to help everybody if you can't. If you help them and that takes everything from you, then what's the point of helping them if you're gonna be in a worse situation? That's just my opinion. But if you do decide to help someone, one of the things that people hate when helping is to look like a fool. Like, if I had donated money to this girl I talked about, I would have felt so angry and mad because she lied to everybody. She lied to everyone. She was taking the money for herself. She was going on trips and everything, and nobody realized that she was using the GoFundMe that was supposed to cover her cancer treatment, you know? And the same thing can happen to you. But one of the things that I have learned following this particular situation is that you should ask questions. And if they are asking for money, ask them, what's another way that you can help them? You know, because you don't always have to give them money. Also, talk to other people that may know them. Look at their social media, because one of the things that happened with this girl is that after everything came to light, I was scrolling through her social media, and there was, back in like years ago, she had this post where she moved to the States because she wasn't from here. She was from somewhere in Europe, or she is from somewhere in Europe. And people are telling her, congratulations. I hope you get a better life in America, whatever. And I was like, that doesn't seem to fall into what she was talking about, you know? Like, right there, that was a red flag. So you need to do things like that. You literally need to become a detective to make sure that they don't take advantage of you. But that's only if you want to. That's only if you want to. You can help if you want to. You don't have to do what I'm saying. But then I'm also saying this so you can cover yourself, so you don't get taken advantage of. Because like I said, it takes your time, your energy, sometimes even your money. And when you ask them questions, sometimes the person doing the sad fishing is not able to keep up with their lies. Because if they're lying, they can't really keep up with their lies if they're just coming up with it out of thin air. They have to literally develop this big lie with such extreme detail that when you ask questions, they have to have an answer. Like this girl. She literally came up with this probably for years. She had details and everything, but there are other people that can't do that because they just want the money, they just want the help right away. And another thing that I have seen when it comes to sad fishers is that they hate it. They absolutely hate when you tell them that you can help them, but you refer them to local resources that may be able to help them. And they hate it because they might have to fill out paperwork, forms, and it takes time for them to get the help they need or they want. And sometimes the actual sad fishers feel entitled to get that help immediately. So they don't like the wait. They don't like to be waiting for help. They don't like to provide information because they know they're lying, so they may not qualify. And I actually have done this with people that I know are sad fishing and they hate it. They even stopped talking to me after doing that. They're like, oh my gosh, you're not helping me. You're a bad friend, whatever. So they stopped talking to me. And I stopped talking to them too because I don't want people like that in my life. And here's the problem right now with sad fishing because it's so common right now. So you have to make sure to watch out for it because you have to take care of yourself first, like I have said, and try to not get taken advantage of. Like you have to be very aware of their situation. Like I said, ask questions, do some digging, watch out for red flags. But you do all of these things not for them, but for you. Because if it turns out to be a lie, then probably you're gonna start hating yourself. Calling yourself dumb for falling into that trap. There's so many things that could happen. So watch out for people that are giving you the sad story, especially if you don't know them. And if you know them, call them out. There's nothing wrong with that. You'll be like, you're full of shit. You're so full of shit. And there's nothing wrong with that, And that's pretty much what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the growth and the feedback. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The link is in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. Karma will come for those who use a sad story to take from another. Sad fishers don't get too far. Because at one point or another, the truth comes out. And have a great day.